Hey, Teddy K here from the Best Buy blog, and in this video, we are taking a look at the Nothing Phone 3, a first flagship for Nothing that aims to be an alternative to the Best. So Nothing may not be a familiar brand to everybody, but it's been around for a few years, and it has a pedigree to it that you don't always see with upstart companies. So as an alternative to the established brands, there is actually a lot to like about the Phone 3, and I'm going to cover it all here. The first thing to note is that it's just an unusual design, right? I mean, if you look at this phone, especially from the back, it just looks kind of retro futuristic and completely by design. It sort of fits with the ethos for the company. And there is a practical reason for it as well, which I'll get to. To me, it's a nice looking device. I think that we kind of need a little bit of a shakeup as far as phone design goes. And while it doesn't really change the general idea of like this being a slab, at least the back looks different and unique. There is a silicone case that comes in the box with it so that you can at least get some protection and still see the back. So if you want to kind of look at that, you want to make sure that you're able to see this unique design at all times, then a clear case is probably the best way to go. So just some of the basics, a 6.77-inch screen. It's a very nice display, very bright, vibrant, a little bit reflective in bright light, but at the same time, very easy to see, I think. And yeah, I mean, it's running on Android. Nothing OS is also a really nice Android overlay. It's probably one of my favorites so far, to be honest, because it just feels lightweight, kind of like, in a sense, kind of like Google stock Android on the Pixel devices, and at the same time, it's got a little bit of that OnePlus Oxygen OS feeling as well. So I was very, very happy with it, just sort of using it. And there are some integrations here that I should point out that are unique also to this phone. So I'm going to start with the Glyph interface, which is in the rear. This is a display here in the back in the corner that is a dot matrix display. So nothing super high tech, but something kind of unique and quirky that makes the device a little bit different. You could ignore it entirely, but it's supposed to serve a functional purpose. So for example, you can choose from amongst various different existing Glyph animations, or you can choose your own and then tie them to a certain app or notification. So for example, if you wanted to have a notification animation specifically, let's say for WhatsApp or for Uber, and you want to do that, you can do that. If you wanted a notification animation also for a specific contact, it could be through text or WhatsApp, maybe even through an email application, you can do that as well. So it's actually pretty granular in what you can do with it, and that's assuming that you're the type of person that's going to keep their phone face down. That's the one caveat to all this, is that in order for this to really be applicable and to work, is that you probably are the type of person who's putting their phone face down. I don't know. To me, this is kind of a subjective thing. I think it just depends on what kind of person you are. But either way, it's a cool little thing. One of the options is also to basically have what's called a mirror, so that you have a live view of the camera, of the main camera in the rear. And sort of you kind of are able to frame yourself if you're taking a selfie with a better camera in the back. But it's a little bit unusual, but hey, you know, it's one of those quirky features. On a more functional side, we have the ChatGPT integration. So this is a significant part. Now, there's two elements to this. So one is there's a button under the power button called the Essential key. So what this does is that anything that's on the screen, it'll take a screenshot, and then at that point, you can type in a prompt that ChatGPT will then integrate with. So if I, for example, there's a photo I took of the blood moon and the last lunar eclipse, I can take a screenshot of that. I did not take that photo with this phone, but I can take a screenshot of that since I have it, and then ask it when the next lunar eclipse will be, which it can then give me the date for. That's also based on my location. Now, if you have signed in to your ChatGPT account, you can actually dig deeper than that. So it's nice to see that the integration is two steps. So you can use it even if you don't have an account, but if you want to dig deeper, you can go further with that. This feature works with just about anything. So you can take a screenshot, let's say, of an advertisement that you see posted on a post or on a wall, and it can pluck and just extract the key information from that, right? So in a sense, it works differently from Google Circle to search, where you can basically just circle something and then it'll look it up in a Google search. This is different in that it is something that stays on the device, that is you can reference at any time, and extracts the information for you that you're looking for. So it's partly search, but it's also partly just gathering information and keeping it. It's one of my favorite features on the phone, primarily because the ChatGPT integration can work a couple of different ways. So for example, you can have a widget on the home screen that you can access at any time. So if you want to do kind of like, you know how Google searches are, there's the bar that's usually on the home screen. This is kind of the same idea. You tap it and then you just basically type in whatever it is you want to type in and you're good to go. The other thing too is that if you take a screenshot of anything, or you can then have ChatGPT look it up. So if it's, for example, you take a photo of a landmark, you're not sure, like maybe a piece of artwork, you're not entirely sure what it is, you can look it up that way too. Now again, circle to search, Google Search works here as well. So you can utilize either one if you find one is stronger than the other when it comes to knowing what it is you want to know. But the key thing is that at least the AI integration, which is limited by and large on this device, at least the AI that is in here is pretty useful. On the photography side, things are kind of an interesting case because there's very good and there's not so good. So I'll start with the not so good first, because it's something that I think you're going to realize fairly quickly. One is shutter lag. So I don't know why, but for some reason, there is a delay of as many as 2 seconds before pushing the shutter button and the photo capturing. This could happen even in broad daylight. I'm not sure why this happens. I suspect that because of the Ultra XDR at work here, which is basically all the image pipeline, all the processing that's going on to stack, maybe it's taking multiple images and it's stacking them together to get you the best composition. Inconsistent in some cases, it could be at 2 seconds, it could be 1 second in another case. I don't know why that happens, and I've been trying to find out. But that is something to just keep in mind if you're looking to take a quick snap. Now, the good news in relation to that is that action mode is your alternative. So if you're looking to capture faster action or freeze motion, action mode is superb at doing that, especially in really good lighting. So if you're outdoors, really good lighting indoors, you'll be very surprised at the results that you can get from it. Some very cool photos can come out of it. And the main thing is that, again, if you're shooting, you're trying to capture your kids, or maybe it's a sporting event or something like that, you have a higher chance of getting a really, really good shot with that. Now, the other downside I want to mention is what's called like flaring, lens flaring, or ghosting. So this is a situation where sometimes light, it could be sunlight, it could be even from artificial light. If it's hitting the lens a certain way from a certain angle, it just kind of bleeds into the shot. And so you'll see the example here of the rabbit that I'm showing that shows you what I mean. Now, nothing is trying to address this with firmware updates, but again, I don't know how much it'll be able to fix the issue. But I will say though that the camera is pretty cool, because there are other things you can do in terms of using the filters. You can also create your own filters through presets that you can apply based on photos you've already taken. So for example, if you've edited a photo in another program like Lightroom or Photoshop, and you want to try and get this camera to emulate that kind of look, then you could just bring it in, set it as a preset, and then apply it whenever you want to shoot something. It's a pretty cool integration. I really, really like it. And it works with LUTs as well. My one complaint though is that it only applies to still photography. So it's not something you can apply to video. If you want to shoot video a certain way, using LUTs or things like that, unfortunately, nothing doesn't allow that. Despite the fact that this is using a Snapdragon 8S Gen 4 processor, this is going to be a weaker processor than the 8 Elites that we've seen flagship Android phones using this year. I think by and large, for the average user, I don't know that you're going to really notice a difference. This is a pretty robust phone. Actually, I didn't really have any issues using it as a daily driver. Generally, it holds up quite well. So the battery life does too, which is actually a key factor in all this. This is a silicon carbon battery, so the energy density is more significant in the battery. Now, that doesn't translate to the best battery life in the industry in this case, but it does mean that you can count on it to last all day, even on fairly heavy usage. So I suspect that nothing will try to improve this with software updates over time, but for now, you can at least at least you know that the battery's reliable. And that's my review of the Nothing Phone 3, available at Best Buy now. You can check out more about it by just clicking that link below. For the Best Buy blog, I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.